Hey everybody, so today we're going to talk about KNIME and IFC. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to figure out what I wanted to do today, which is show the audit process. I am still going to show the workflow and show how you could possibly create an audit process, but what I wanted to check for was a dashboard and make sure that it existed in the project. Also make sure that it exists in multiple projects. This model health dashboard right here, I couldn't get that to come over to IFC. I'm pretty new to IFC, to be honest, and so I'm still learning a lot of the ins and outs of it. And I know a lot of the data that's in the files are geometric, and so I'm trying to find a way to get this data. I will do a future video this weekend on looking at this data, but I'm going to try it through Access or like through SQLite. See if the data exists. So see if this family exists, and then from there, have an automation set up to load the family into any projects that don't have it already loaded. So that'll be this weekend, but for now we'll focus on the IFC to KNIME piece of it, and then I'll show you kind of what I have in place. And then in the future, at some point, I'll actually look at like QC design stuff. That's not what I intended for this video, but I think that'll be better for the IFC format. Like we can look at actual design conditions and make sure that they're up to standard, or like if say an electrical element isn't circuited correctly or has the wrong like load type, then we can potentially audit for that data. So that'll take some time for me to dig into IFC a little bit more, but I also would love to hear your feedback on ideas or things that you think would be important to check for in designs. So the reason I'm doing this video with KNIME is mostly because of Emiliano's post. So this is his LinkedIn article, and I'll post it in the description below. So he just talks about creating a couple KNIME nodes, and if we jump over to this tab, this is the KNIME website, and you can see the two nodes that he created. And from here, it's really easy. You can just drag them into KNIME. So I've got KNIME open right here, and so with this website open, if you go to like the node that you want, so let me pull this up. If you go to IFC Reader, you can drag that node directly into your workspace. So if we drag that, you can see it'll pop up. Now if it isn't installed, it'll just prompt you that it needs to be installed, and then whenever it's ready, you'll have the nodes available. So over here to the left is the node library. If I click X there, and then if I type in IFC again, you'll see it'll filter down to the IFC nodes, and then I can use those. So, you know, this workflow is going to look at Revit to IFC to KNIME to the audit piece. Now, again, I didn't get to a point where I could audit the dashboard, but I still want to show that because I think it's important. Something else I have on this workflow, and I will share this as well so you can check it out, is the IDS stuff that Building Smart has. And I don't know a whole lot about it, but from what I gathered, you can set up essentially like data quality audits in a way on your IFC models, and so potentially look for certain design conditions and issues. So I want to see if that method is something that independently I could do by itself, or plays, you know, a part within this process. So again, like with the IFC stuff, I'm still very limited on that. I don't work with IFC very much, so I'm going to do some digging there, but I wanted to share this workflow and then that link in case you wanted to dig into it yourself. So this will be shared below. I think this is free. It should be, like, when I share it, you may have to create an account, but this is in Notion, or not Notion, this is in Canva. So I don't know how that works when I share it, but it shouldn't cost anything. If it does, let me know, because I'll just post the links in the description below. So if we jump back into KNIME, this is the workflow that I have. It's pretty simple. There's not a whole lot going on here, but I still wanted to show it because there was a couple things that I kind of ran into. So this node here, so when it's placed, if you go up to settings, there's some settings in here. I have it pathed to this location here. I did check off include parent folder because I was getting some errors. And then if I click OK, I'm going to drag this over. So this is the folder I have. And this only has one file in it. You can have a bunch of files in there, and the IFC reader will read them. But for now, I've only got one. And then this path to string node, if I go to settings for this one as well, I think by default, or at least for me, a pin column was set by default. And so I went down here and clicked replace. The reason why is if we leave this way, if I click run and then go over to the IFC reader and then click run, it'll give me an error. And so, and actually if we go into this and go into the settings, you'll see it's got the path, but for whatever reason it doesn't read it in correctly. But I found if I go down here and just click on this, click OK, play again, play, you'll see it runs. It does give you a caution sign here. I saw on Emiliano's post that on his like KNIME snippet, he had a similar thing. So I don't know exactly what's going on there, but I'm not too worried about it. So now that that's been ran, if we click on it, you can see all of the data in the IFC being parsed over and then put into this table. And so from here we can, look at the data and then potentially build checks on it. So the model that I have is pretty simple. So I showed you the dashboard, but the actual modeled elements, it's just some walls. So there's not much. And then there's some spaces in there as well. And so I thought this was a cool node. I explored some other things as well, but nothing that tied into what I wanted to do with that dashboard. So, but I thought this node was really useful and is something I'm going to look into whenever I start digging into like the design quality checks, is setting up this rule engine. So it's kind of neat, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it. But I went in there and just said, hey, if the data dashboard doesn't exist, then just set it as not true. And if we go in here, or actually if we go and play, it'll dump out a table similar to the one that's from the IFC reader. And then, but over to the far right, you'll see the new column that's checking for that. And so since that data doesn't exist, it's just reading as false here, but for everything. And so there's a lot of flexibility, I guess is what I'm saying. You can do a lot of things with this from what I've gathered and what I've tested. And so you could build some, I think, interesting checks. And it'll probably take various nodes, and I'm going to explore some of that this weekend and see what I can do with Access instead of IFC, and then I'll do some more digging in the design quality piece of this as well. But I thought these were really cool because I do a lot of stuff in Power BI. I work with a lot of like formulas, and I will create custom tables to do different things. But one thing I'm not a fan of with that tool is that it is a paid tool, and it's tied into the whole Microsoft ecosystem. I don't think there's a huge issue with all of that. It just means that there's a barrier for some folks that can't get the tool. And that's something cool with KNIME, is that it has all these nodes for different things, and even community nodes from people, and you can do some cool things and explore data in your free time, or even at work, build some practical things as well. So anyways, I just wanted to show that because I want to build on this and do something really cool with it. Sorry I couldn't show you anything else really. I wanted to really show you like checking for that model health, and then potentially reporting a bunch from a bunch of models, and then loading that stuff in automatically as a almost like a proof of concept of proactively looking for this stuff and then doing something about it. So more than just a report, reporting it, but then proactively addressing inequality issues. So that's what I'll look for this weekend. I'm going to do it with Access. So I'm just going to replace what I've done with IFC and then do it with Access, and then we'll jump into that piece of it. But like I mentioned, I'm going to still explore the IFC piece. I'm going to learn more about the IFC files, the formats, IDS, and then have some videos in the future kind of talking more about that. But anyways, that's all I've got here. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any thoughts. And hopefully you liked it. And I will see you in the next one.